Oxalates make or break biofilms. Found in high concentrations in foods like potatoes, these
In this video, I'm going to be talking about oxalates or oxalate crystals and the effects on biofilms. Biofilms are like protective layers around cancer cells and pathogens that protects them from like macrophage phagocytosis or immune T cell attack. When those things happen, like the engulfing, the biofilm could actually get thicker because when the attack happens, it actually contributes metabolites that the biofilm uses to grow and to become thicker. So it might be better for the macrophage to just leave the pathogen or cancer cell alone if it has a biofilm surrounding and protecting it. The pH of a biofilm can actually affect whether if the biofilm grows or not. So the pH, whether if it's acidic or if it's the other way, which is more alkaline. So oxalates can actually change the local chemistry around the biofilms. And oxalate salts and oxalic acid can shift the micro pH, and even small pH shifts causes changes in EPS viscosity. So EPS is short for extracellular polymeric substance, which has to do with biofilms. So the effects of oxalates on the biofilms, it can either activate or inhibit bacterial enzymes involved in biofilm maturation. And even some bacteria, like Oxalobacter species, metabolizes oxalates and lower pH locally. Now, foods that contain oxalates could be like chocolate, potatoes, some nuts and seeds like almonds. Also, some healthy foods can also contain oxalates such as spinach. So, yeah, high amounts of oxalates could be beneficial or even antagonistic. Okay, one way that oxalates actually disrupts uh, biofilms and making them less cohesive and making biofilms more sensitive to immune defenses or antimicrobials is that the oxalate strongly binds calcium, uh, forming calcium oxalate crystals. And by doing this, the chelation of calcium weakens structural integrity of the biofilms. And that's because biofilms rely on calcium to stabilize the EPS cross-linking biofilm cohesion and the cation bridges between polysaccharides. So when oxalates form calcium oxalate crystals, um, there's a mechanical disruption of the biofilm layers because the crystals can penetrate those layers and create micro tears in the EPS, therefore exposing deeper layers to immune cells or antimicrobials. So oxalates, they do benefit the immune system because the immune cells are able to attack the a pathogen or cancer cell if it's covered in biofilms, if the oxalates are penetrating the biofilms. But of course, too many oxalates from the foods that I mentioned earlier can have a negative effect, though. So balance could be key to get the immune benefit. But here's the way that oxalates can actually build uh, and support biofilms. And it's seen and studied in urinary tract biofilms on crystals, kidney stone associated biofilms, also and soil microbial communities, because there is a biofilm scaffolding effect where biofilms grow around the oxalate crystal bed, and then the crystals become a surface for microbial adhesion, and then EPS can bind to crystal edges of the oxalates. So oxalates can either weaken or support biofilms. Now, oxalates, they can actually trigger immune pathways such as damp signals, so DAMP, and these calcium oxalate crystals trigger NLRP3 inflammasome, as well as neutrophil recruitment and IL-1 beta release. So these are actually immune reactions. And neutrophils, they're like macrophages. They can engulf cancer cells and pathogens with nets. They're short for neutrophil extracellular traps. But they can also release reactive oxygen species and proteases. So these can actually damage biofilms, especially in early microcolonies. So that's actually pretty good, because biofilms, if they form and they're thicker and they are not broken down, that they can actually, the bacteria in the biofilm can absorb and sequester nutrients and vitamins, robbing the human body and depriving the human body of needed nutrition and nutrients, leading to deficiencies. But excessive inflammation as a result of the damp pathway activated by oxalates can paradoxically protect biofilms. Chronic inflammation increases tissue damage and reinforces biofilm resilience by providing nutrients such as iron, DNA, and proteins to the biofilm. So biofilms often exploit inflamed environments. Possibly cancer cells and tumors could build biofilms just by the environment excessively inflammatory. And it's also well known that cancer cells and tumors, they migrate towards areas of inflammation. And this could be one reason why, because cancer cells and tumors, they need protection against immune cells and macrophages. So they protect themselves against immune cells by gravitating towards areas of excessive inflammation, so that the inflammation provides the biofilm to the cancer cell or tumor as protection from the immune system. So that's why it's important to keep inflammation levels low. So another strange paradox is that effects on specific bacteria related to oxalates is possible on oxalate-degrading bacteria, because some bacteria thrive in oxalate-rich environments, such as certain lactobacillus species and then Oxalobacter formigenes. And these species alter local pH, affecting biofilms, and they even reduce certain biofilms by nutrient competition, and they even compete with pathogens. So, oxalates, they can inhibit E. coli growth and even certain Staphylococcus species and pseudomonas. So, oxalates reduces pathogen-driven biofilms, but mostly at high non-physiological levels. Okay, so quick recap. Oxalates are found in foods such as potatoes, almonds, other nuts and seeds, healthier foods like spinach, which also has iron. Oxalates can either inhibit or activate biofilms. Biofilms are protective layers around cancer cells and pathogens that protects them. If they go on for too long and they get thicker, they can lead to nutrient deficiencies in the body, which with other serious problems, because biofilms and the bacteria within the biofilms, they steal nutrients away from the body. But on the flip side, oxalates found in those foods can actually support and help out immune cells to attack cancer cells or pathogens, because the oxalates can crystals can penetrate the biofilm layer, leaving the cancer cells vulnerable to immune cell attack. So that's it for the video. If you want more future videos, then like, comment, share, subscribe, and keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you next time.